Have you ever felt like life has taken you into a wilderness? A place where nothing seems to grow, where prayers feel unanswered, and hope feels distant? It's in those quiet, uncertain places that God often shows His greatest power. Today we look at the story of Elijah, a man who learned that even in the wilderness, God never forgets His people. Before the story begins, the nation of Israel had turned away from God. They were worshiping idols and chasing after their own ways. Elijah, a prophet from Tishbe, was chosen by God to deliver a hard message. There would be no rain, no dew, until God said so. He was a man of deep faith, but also human, a man who would soon find himself completely alone, with no home, no food, and no water. Then the word of the Lord came to Elijah, saying, "Leave here, turn eastward and hide in the Kerith ravine, east of the Jordan. You will drink from the brook, and I have directed the ravens to supply you with food there." Day after day Elijah sat by the brook. In the quietness of his exile, God sent ravens, black-winged messengers from the sky, carrying bread and meat, morning and evening. Imagine that. In the middle of nowhere, with no one around, God Himself arranged a delivery of grace. Even when Elijah couldn't see the bigger plan, God was already providing. But soon, the brook dried up. The water that once sustained him was gone. Have you ever been there? When what once refreshed you is suddenly empty, when the job ends, the door closes, the comfort fades? And yet, God's voice came again. "Go at once to Zarephath. I have commanded a widow there to feed you." It didn't make sense, a poor widow during a famine, but Elijah obeyed, because obedience opens the door for miracles.
"Please bring me a little water in a jar and a piece of bread."
She turned and said,
"As surely as the Lord your God lives, I have no bread, only a handful of flour and a little oil in a jug. I'm preparing this for myself and my son, that we may eat it and die."
But Elijah replied with faith that saw beyond famine.
"Do not be afraid. The jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land."
And she believed. Each morning after that, the jar was never empty and the oil never ran out. God took what was little and made it enough. When we trust God in our wilderness, He shows us that His provision isn't about how much we have. It's about who we have. The God who sent ravens to feed Elijah and oil to sustain a widow is the same God who can meet your needs today. Maybe your brook has dried up. Maybe you're staring at an empty jar. But hear this: God still provides. Not always in the way you expect, but always in the way you need. Lord, thank you for being faithful in the wilderness. When I can't see the way forward, remind me that you are my provider. Fill my heart with trust that you will never leave me empty. Teach me to walk by faith, one day, one miracle, one promise at a time. Amen. If this message touched your heart today, would you take a moment to like, share, and comment below? Tell us, where have you seen God provide in your life? Hit the subscribe button and subscribe to Naomi D. Jesus Daily, because when we grow together in faith, the wilderness starts to bloom again.